The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. A lot of things are coming out concerning the people who always show the face to the world as if they love Africans, they protect us, and they are ready to do everything possible to support the development of Africa. And sometimes we hear them also pointing fingers at other leaders that they are the reason to which we are not seeing A, B, C, D. We believe so much in these our leaders because of the things that they say. But according to one lady who exposed somebody that a lot of you believe and trust, Paul Kagame, is shocking. According to her, Paul Kagame has succeeded in making sure that he blindfolds us. We are following Paul Kagame blindly. That there are a lot of things that Paul Kagame is doing in the dark that is not good. And as Africans, we need to open our eyes. That the man Paul Kagame is not who we think he is. The way he comes on stage, talk to us, blaming other people, making it look as if African leaders are puppets. They are dancing to the tune of these people, and he's changing the narrative in Rwanda. And now when we go to Rwanda, we are seeing that Rwanda is like if we actually know what this man is using us for, we would have been running by now.
Imagine being lied to, being deceived and manipulated. Imagine being fed a false narrative about a true historical tragedy and hearing that narrative for so long that it becomes unquestionable truth. I'm here today to tell you about one of the biggest lies of modern times and about someone who's been posing as a hero for a very long time. Someone who's everywhere in plain sight, from Davos to the Olympics, when in reality, he's been taking you for a ride. That person is Rwanda's dictator, Paul Kagame. In 1996, as a young Canadian journalist, I landed a dream job in Paris covering the African continent. At the time, I was hungry for life experience and eager to learn. It turned out that Africa was the best teacher. Almost immediately into that job, I was drawn into covering the aftermath of the Rwandan genocide. Paul Kagame, who had been hailed a hero for supposedly stopping the genocide against Tutsis committed by Hutus, was now launching a military invasion of Congo. Ostensibly, his objective was to root out Hutu genocidaires who were living in the refugee camps inside Congo's border. But for those of us who were paying attention, we realized that Paul Kagame's Tutsi troops were systematically massacring Hutu refugees in Congo. In May and June of 1997, I went to Congo, a country the size of Western Europe. With the help of Congolese aid workers, I went into the forests, and what I saw was devastating. Hundreds of thousands of Hutu civilians had been chased across the country and hunted down like animals by Paul Kagame's Tutsi forces. I met wounded, traumatized, and starving women in the forests. I saw catatonic children, emaciated and covered in scabies. The testimony that I collected from the forests of Congo and the pictures I took of mass graves convinced me that Paul Kagame's forces had committed a genocide against Congolese and Rwandan Hutus in 1996 and 97. The United Nations would later classify these crimes as a possible genocide. After Congo, I crossed over on foot into Rwanda and interviewed more Hutu survivors who had just come home. I essentially asked them two questions, the same questions I had asked Rwandans in Congo. Why did you flee Rwanda in the first place in 1994 and decide to stay in Congolese refugee camps, enduring brutal conditions, instead of going home? where Paul Kagame had reportedly stopped the genocide in 1994, stopped the violence, and was restoring peace and prosperity to Rwanda. These Hutu survivors told me, one after the other, that in fact, Paul Kagame's Tutsi army had slaughtered Hutus during the genocide. Their relatives had been massacred. They were afraid of Kagame's army. They also told me that many Hutus who returned from Congo to Rwanda were disappearing. This was astounding to me. Remember, these were early days. I'd never heard these stories before, but I knew that I had to keep researching this story. These interviews were very dangerous to do inside Rwanda, but I realized that the official genocide narrative of one category of perpetrator, one category of victim, was a sham, and that Kagame was no savior. I have since spent almost 30 years of my life investigating the crimes that Kagame's forces committed before, during, and after the genocide. I've interviewed hundreds of victims, witnesses, defectors from Kagame's own army, UN officials, and whistleblowers. And one of those whistleblowers leaked to me a confidential UN document which revealed that Kagame's Tutsi commandos actually slaughtered Tutsis during the genocide. These were false flags, staged operations. This evidence and other types of evidence like this completely disrupted established doctrine of the Rwandan genocide. My research reveals that both Hutus and Tutsis were victims of genocide in 1994, and both groups were perpetrators. What's more, powerful insiders at the United Nations knew about these massive atrocities committed by Kagame's army and covered them up. For years, I've asked myself, why is it that Kagame's record has been sanitized? Why has he gotten away with committing crimes over 3 decades, egregious crimes, and why has the United Nations granted him de facto immunity? The answer, I believe, lies in Congo, a country that is rich in strategic minerals that are essential for our global economy. Chances are that the cell phone you're using or the Tesla you're driving is made from Congolese minerals that have been laundered by Rwanda. One of the most trafficked and strategic minerals on the market today is tantalum. Tantalum metal is valuable because it can be extremely resistant to high temperatures. Tantalum components are able to store a tremendous amount of energy charge in a small space. Tantalum is used in rockets, satellites, missiles, smart cars, and smart cities. Canada and Australia have reserves of tantalum, but their tantalum is very expensive and they're not producing much of it. Brazil is an exporter and a producer of tantalum, but not in the quantities needed for the global economy. Congo has the richest grade of tantalum. It has the cheapest tantalum. It's the biggest producer, and Congo is Kagame's playground. Kagame and his international mafia launder vast quantities of tantalum, tungsten, tin, and gold from Congo into Rwanda, onto Rwanda's Switzerland-like paved roads, and into the lucrative global supply chain. And when I examined this global supply chain in detail, I discovered that all the major suppliers to big tech and weapons companies source their tantalum in Rwanda. So what's happening is Paul Kagame is ensuring a cheap, steady supply of strategic minerals that are needed for the global economy, and our thirst for technology is ensuring his criminal longevity. If there's one thing you take away from my talk today, it's that the technology that we're using is tied to Kagame's violence. And the laundered minerals themselves constitute criminal property. Anyone who acquires, possesses, uses, or profits from that criminal property is laundering. So we as consumers, when we purchase devices that contain that criminal property, we are engaging in laundering as well, whether we know it or not. Kagame is currently tightening his grip on Congo. His latest invasion is illegal and a violation of Congolese sovereignty. But unlike Russia's invasion of Ukraine, where the world rallied to condemn Vladimir Putin and sanction him, Kagame has gotten off scot-free. And he is still a rock star and treated so by global elites. We've seen football teams such as Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain continue to sign sponsorship deals with Rwanda. We've seen international sporting bodies such as FIFA and the NBA continue to do business with him. Imagine how Kagame's victims feel. I refuse to be part of this global criminal project. Lobbyists and governments can prop up his regime. Businesses can live the lie because they profit from it. Media can amplify his propaganda. And Kagame can impose his lies on people he controls, but he cannot control me. Paul Kagame, I know who you are, and I know what you've done. In fact, Paul Kagame's regime's crimes and his agents' campaign against me have actually emboldened me to continue this work. More than a decade ago, his agents threatened me and threatened my family. I kept going anyhow because the fear of dying galvanized me into finishing what I had started. In 2018, after my book was launched, I was a victim of smears. I was blacklisted, essentially, and labeled a genocide denier. Remember, I acknowledged that 2 genocides occurred in Rwanda, one against Tutsis and one against Hutus. I have not buried history. With Rwandans' help, I have unearthed it. None of what I've experienced has compared to what his regime has done to the Congolese and Rwandan people. The rebellions that Kagame has sponsored over 30 years have left more than 6 million Congolese dead. These wars have eviscerated the Congolese nation. Rwandans, meanwhile, live in an open-air prison where history is state property. Any discussion of Hutu suffering is criminalized. Hutus in general, even Hutu children, are branded irredeemable perpetrators. Tutsi genocide survivors are persecuted and at times are killed. Kizito Mihigo was a beloved Tutsi genocide survivor and gospel singer who preached reconciliation and denounced crimes by Kagame's regime against Hutus and Tutsis. He was arrested and later found dead in custody. Emab Karasira, Yvonne Idamange, and Deo Mushaidi, all Tutsi genocide survivors who have denounced human rights violations in a country led by Paul Kagame. They have been arrested, they are languishing in jail, and effectively silenced. We must break the silence. If you believe that all victims matter, if you believe in the truth, demand accountability. Demand that Paul Kagame, once and for all, be tried for the crimes he's committed over 3 decades. Demand he be tried in an international court. Demand that corporations stop buying strategic minerals from Rwanda, where they are soaked in the blood of Congolese people. I am tied to Paul Kagame. He has made me who I am today. He has brought me here. We are all tied to Paul Kagame, but that doesn't mean we have to be his accomplices. We need to be accountable. We need to be responsible for our consumer choices and ensure that those choices are not fueling wars in Central Africa. I urge accountability not only for the sake of Rwandans and Congolese, but for our collective integrity. Thank you.
As Africans, we are the only ones that can set ourselves free. But it seems that a lot of us are not willing to emancipate ourselves. We still believe so much in being servants, puppets to the West. It's not because the African cannot do anything, but it's because of the kind of leaders that we have. And the reason to which we are having these people is because of these people still controlling the African. And that is why we need to break away from the chains of these people. Like all in all, Captain Ibrahim Traore said, until we are able to break away from them, we can never succeed. And any leader in Africa you are seeing dining with the West, you should know that person is not having your interest. No matter how much they try to sit on set to preach how good they are, how they have achieved a lot, and calling other people names, my brother and sister, they are all the same. They are all the same. No wonder other people will say they are the ones they love. And anytime we see the West calling a leader in Africa a best leader, a good leader, you should know. Like one time Donald Trump said, among all the leaders in Africa, Paul Kagame is his favorite. These people will never praise a good leader in Africa. That we should know. See, when I heard these things, I was shocked. The kind of things he's doing, how he began, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Africans will have a very long way to go. And it must start in this generation to make sure that no matter how long the path is, at least we cut it short. We must unite. The unity is very important. And we need now to always love these leaders based on the speech or one or two things that they have done. We don't know them that much. The only leaders in Africa that are thinking about us, thinking about the continent, are Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. That is the reason to which they decided to move away from the West. Because these are the people that are causing us pain. Africans are saying it. The West, their politicians, their analysts, their economists, people are exposing things to us. They themselves are exposing themselves to us. Even when they go for their Congress meetings, they say all things. Even in their Congress meetings, they open up what they are doing to us. Now they are not hiding. Even in EU meetings, we hear some of their members rising against the things that they are doing to the African. But these are the same people that our leaders love so much that they always go to. If our leaders know very well that these people are the reason to which we are not moving forward, why are they always with them? They always present the situation as if the African do not have any other option. We do. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso prove to all of us that we have another option. We need to desist from believing these people are leaders by the things they say. Because when it comes to this man especially, a lot of people believe him. And they'll go to any length to protect, defend, because of the things we believe he has done in Rwanda and the way he always sits down to present himself. You see how calm he is. It's not easy. I am shocked too. I am telling you. Our leaders are the ones that are causing us pain. Because if truly they want to move away from being servants, the African can change. That is the reason to which we are not seeing them moving with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Because the whole of Africa, these are the only leaders that are proving to us that the African can do it without these people. And these leaders are not in any way closer to them, making them their friends. If truly these leaders are looking for the liberation of Africa, and we have strong men, wise men who are fighting, I think by now all these leaders would have joined hands. But you've seen that they've all washed their hands, trying to be good in the presence of the oppressor. So we need to wake up as Africans the way we believe these are leaders, per what they say and per what they have allowed them to do, in order to convince you that they are the best. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, Central Africa, and in Rwanda.